Yo, what's up? What's up? So today, or tonight rather, I'm gonna go read a book that I received in the mail on a disc. Yep. Show you what I'm working with. So, Magic and Fetishism is this book. So, this is where I'm at. I just came across a passage about sympathetic magic. I didn't know that was a thing. Sympathetic magic bulks largely in the life of backward peoples, not merely in the form of actions to be performed, but also in those to be abstained from. The thou shalt not is more in evidence than thou shalt. The prohibitions of savages and barbarians are now spoken of under the general term of taboo. Some taboos are rational from our point of view, others seem to us to be utterly irrational. But this does not affect their validity, forgive me, validity in any way. So much has been written on this subject by diver writers, that only one or two examples need to be given here. The subject is again referred to on page 55. The old Irish tale, the the Bruden, the Bruiden da Durga, tells of the destruction following the violation of taboos. Conair, king of Ulster, was put under certain uh, Gaza by his father, such as thou shalt not go Dizul round Tara, nor wither shins round Brigia. The evil beast of Cerna must not be hunted by thee. There shall not there shall not go before uh, there shall not go before the three reds to the house of red, and others. But on the way to Da Durga's hostel, they went right in wise round Tara and left hand wise round Persia. Okay, close some of these things out the way. And the evil beast of Cerna were haunted by him, and he saw it not till the chase had ended. Then he saw three red men going before him to the house of red, and Conair says, "Oh, my Gesa have seized me tonight." And before the next day, Conair and all his hosts were destroyed in Dadurga's hostel. When Cuchulainn was on his way to his last combat, he met three hags, daughters of a wizard, all blind of the left eye. They were cooking a dog with poisons and spells on spits of a rowan tree. It was Gaius to Cuchulainn to eat at a cooking hearth, or to eat the flesh of a hound. But the woman put him on his honor not to refute the peace they offered him. So he took it, and all the strength went out of his left hand, in which he took the food. Okay. Number 3, talismans and amulets. If you want to know what the geisha or the geisha is, it's like a powerful spell, right? What would you call that? Where did they put this? They were going on how poets are really good at uh, enforcing their demands with satire, with poetry, which I found pretty interesting. They say the Irish guests are okay. They're pronouncing this gesh. Okay, so I've been pronouncing it wrong the whole time. The gesh or gas, right? So the gesh or gas, Gaza was the exact equivalent of an ordinary taboo. But the people sometimes put an injunction on a person in some such form as, I place you under heavy gasa, which no true champion will break through to do so and so. In this manner, the witch lady forces the Finn. I just jumped into the story, but basically, the person forcing an individual with a specific gesa or taboo or spell to get them to do certain things. So we're going all the way back to here, the talismans and amulets. In the forms of magic, we have hitherto considered something is done by a human being, whether by action, representation, or word. But there is another branch of magic in which the virtue resides intrinsically in certain objects, which are variously termed charms, talisman, amulets, or mascots. Before I continue, there's a presidential election happening right now, and so we're given talismans. We're given the Donald Trumps. We're given the Joe Bidens. We're given the Kamala Harrises. These are all talismans. These are all talismans. And I have to go back to a previous point I made in another video about Trump and Kamala. Because people want Kamala because she's running a so-called black, even though she's Indian. Her name, Kamala, means pale red. She's been wearing pale red. And, Trump, they already call him the orange guy. People are like, how low can you go? We're dealing with a Hindu Brahmin. And I knows how the chakra system works. She's the pale red one. Be aware of that. Remember, all of these characters in the mainstream, they're talismans. I just interjected to say that, so I'm about to continue. Those that transmit qualities or are worn for good luck may be termed talismans, while the term amulet may be restricted with advantage to those charms which are preventative in their action. But the same charm is in some case employed for both these purposes. These objects are continuously effective without any action or the part of the preparer or wearer, as they possess power in their own right. But this is from very diverse causes. Certain stones, from their color, suggest flesh. Thus, garnets and carnelians are worn in the rough or worked into beads as amulets against skin disease. Most precious stones are credited with distinctive properties, and some have a reputation for being unlucky, as for example, the precious opal. The amethyst, where do I leave off? The amethyst, as its name implies, was regarded by the ancient Greeks as a charm against becoming intoxicated. I actually wear amethyst in my hair. I got to shout out to Tati for gifting me this. Among the ancient Egyptians, the amethyst corresponds to the zodiacal sign of the goat. And as the goat was an enemy to vines, so the amethyst was a foe to wine. Leland, 43, 351. Leland points out that it also drives away bad thoughts and confers ripe and happy genius. Amber beads are carried by people of various races for weak eyes, and it is essential that they be looked through to strengthen the sight. The electrical power of attraction of light objects by amber, when rubbed with doubtless one cause of its supposed virtue. The several metals have their active magical properties. The lump of eroded antimony in Italy is very infectious. when the following invocation is pronounced. Antimony, who art of zinc and copper, thou most powerful, I keep thee ever by me, thou that thou mayest banish from me evil people and bring good luck to me. Gold is the most genial or luck bringing, and as a woman said, antimony is stronger than lead because it consists of three metals, or rather, always has in it copper and lead. Color alone has its magical qualities, hence, the frequency of red, woven thread, or stuff encounter charms against the evil eye, as an old expresses it. Okay, I'm gonna stop right there. I'm gonna go bring this back to Kamala because she represents the pale red, and people have been giving Biden that evil eye. I'm gonna tell you something. The I see this more so all symbolically, as one big ass rite being performed, one big ass act. These members, these colors that they wear, these dates that roam through our subconscious minds. You got to know what's rolling through your mind. So this is the same dude that has been accused of rape, not only by a woman that was leading the Me Too movement. That same woman told, I think, one of the young ladies, I know, I believe you, but we need to get Trump out of office. Okay, that's crazy. And then you go to Kamala. I think she said the same thing, that she believes the woman, and now she's his VP. I think they're just using her as a piece. So I'm gonna go back to this. Color alone has its magical qualities. Hence, the frequency of red, woven thread, or stuff encounter charms against the evil eye, as an old saw expresses it. Roan tree and red thread will drive the witches woo. For the same reason, red coral is so greatly valued. Blue is of equal efficiency. Hence, the wearing of turquoise by so many Oriental and North African peoples and people beads are worn by people for much the same reason, that they suspend them around the necks of donkeys or camels. The Democrats are represented by donkeys, which are blue. Right, I'm not saying donkeys are blue, but the Democrats are blue. So, when dealing with contagious magic, we saw that many objects are worn in order that certain qualities of the animal from which they were obtained may be imparted to the wearer. The wild boar's tusk, the acquisition of which is greatly desired by the natives of the Papuan Gulf as a mark of bravery, is coveted, not so much as a personal ornament as for the courage and for ferocity and daring which it is supposed to contain and to be capable of imparting to anyone who wears it. Probably this is the reason why boar's tusks are so much prized all over New Guinea, where they are wrought into ornaments which are carried in the mouth or worn on the chest when on the warpath. In West Africa, the bones from the legs of tortoises are much valued as anklets in order to give the wearers endurance. The lower jawbone of the tortoise is worn by certain tribes as a preventative against toothache. That's good to know. In this case, the reason would seem to be that the tortoise has no teeth. It cannot suffer from toothache, and thus freedom from toothache can be imparted by the edentulous jaw. The spinal bones of snakes are strung together for a girdle as a cure for backache. Africans, according to Arnott, believe largely in preventative measures, and their charms are chiefly of that order. In passing through a country where leopards and lions abound, they carefully provide themselves with the claws and teeth, lips, and whiskers of those animals, and hang them around their necks to secure themselves against being attacked. For the same purpose or point of an elephant's trunk, and generally worn of the elephant hunters. So, animal associations, right? You know, Trump, he's a Republican. Republicans are elephants. He's riding on the back of an elephant. Like Obama, he rode in on the back of a donkey. As far as spiritual animals is concerned, uh, you got Black Panther, right? And you got T'Challa playing Black Panther, and N'Jaka being Killmonger with the jaguar costume. A lot of times they want to put it in Africa, but notice they started it off in Oakland. They started it off in Oakland and ended in Oakland because of the history of Black Panthers. But also, the land Wakanda was a Native American spirit. So it had to start in Oakland. It had to. The spirit's here. A lot of times they want to send us back to Africa when our energy is here because we helped build this. You know, we are part of the natives that are here. So the spirit animals that were here were panthers and jaguars. Which, you know, a lot of them got killed off at some point in time. But, you know, I just wanted to say that. A large class of talismans consist of models or representations of objects, and the attributes of the original passed onto the symbol. The pig, perhaps on account of its abundant food fecundity, fecundity. I do not know what this word means, but it's abundant. Account of its abundant food density, it's abundant, whatever that word is, was primarily sacred to the earth goddess. Whether she was known as Demeter, Ceres, or by any other name, Leland points out that little gold and silver pigs were offered to Ceres, who was preeminently a goddess of fertility and therefore good luck and all genial influence. For those reasons, they were worn by Roman ladies, and lucky pigs are still very common charms, especially in South Germany. Okay. So culturally, you know, everywhere on the map they have different charm practices. And I'm from the Bay Area, I'm from Oakland. I'm a charmer myself, not really of the magic. Well, let me take that back. I like most of my charms have to do with, you know, love. Like I feel like roses are a charm of love, and how I express them, you know, throw them at the feet, sometimes giving out to the women. Shout out to Best Med Pod for putting me on a love event to where I was able to do that. You know, I've been known for giving out crystal hearts just out of love. I'm like, hey, I love you. Here's crystal heart. So talismans, amulets, you know, uh, the representations of what you're trying to convey is, you know, real important in this day and age. You know, you got talismans that could keep uh, uh, ward off certain evil entities. That's good to know. That is good to know. So back to the book. The belief in the evil eye is not only widely spread, but extremely ancient. And in some places, is still firmly rooted amongst the folk, overlooking may be intentional, but it is believed that many persons without intention and even against their will by the glance of their eye have caused injurious effects. Um, so that in some cases, mothers would not venture to expose their infants to the look of their own fathers. That's interesting. The Plutarch vouches for this and admits that envy exerts an evil influence through the eyes. Now, I would like to interject that people say the eyes are the windows to the soul. I've given evil looks before. I've given loving looks before. I've given all type of looks. So I know that energy, it can't be created nor destroyed. It can be transferred. So whatever you feeling at the time, it can be conveyed through your eyes. So, yeah. So back to this. And admits that envy exerts an evil influence through the eyes, and adds that it is wise to employ charms and antidotes to turn aside those evil glances. Right? For example, a good amulet to have is a necklace mirror. Motherfuckers is trying to look at you with some evil glances, and then they see themselves. That shit reflects back to them. That's just an example of a simple charm, loving sense. That helps, and there's all type of stuff you could do. A friend of his stated that even that some even fascinate themselves by their own gaze, and alluded to the story of uh, Utilidas, Utilidus, who, like Narcissus, fell to a victim at the admiration he felt for his own likeness. Women and children seem to have been accounted by all old classical writers as the most liable to injury. Okay. Among the Greeks and Roman statues of Nemesis were erected, which were adored and invoked to save their worshippers from fascination. Uh, save their worshippers from fascination. In Rome, according to Pliny, special laws were enacted against injury to crops by incantation, excantation, or a fascination. Eat not of the bread of him that have an evil eye. It is just so much of a maxim today as it was in the time of Solomon. And Mr. Elworthy says in Naples, at the appearance of a person having this reputation, a cry of jetator is passed. And even in a crowded street, it causes an instantaneous vanishing of everybody. A rush up entries into shops or elsewhere. Ever since the establishment of the righteous elder orders, monks have had the special reputation of possessing the fatal influence. The last pope, but one, Pius the Ninth, was firmly believed to have had the evil eye. The Roman would candidly say nothing succeeds with anybody or anything when he wishes well to it. When he went to San Agnes to hold a great festival, down went the floor and the people were all smashed together. Then he visited the column to the Madonna in the Piazza de Spagna and blessed it. In the workmen of the course, one fell from the scaffold the same day and killed himself. That's crazy. It's crazy. I want to interject here when we talk about evil eye or evil intentions. I showed most of my friends this experiment, and I know people heard of the experiment with water, but I did this experiment with bread, 3 pieces to be exact. I concentrate loving intention, sang 2, played music for 1 slice of bread. Started December 26, 2019. Another piece of bread I sent evil intentions to. I hate you. Fuck you, bread. All that type of shit. All the negative forces you could just think of to that other piece of bread. The third piece of bread I just sat in the middle of the two. Didn't do nothing to. After the third month, the piece of bread I sent negative energy to, it turned into black mold. Even flies produced itself. This is a silk bag. It's August 22nd to be exact. The piece of bread that I started singing to has not molded at all. So your intention is real powerful. And I dare somebody to test me against it, because I got the evidence. I got the bread itself. Evidence. Anybody could do this experiment. Domestic animals always have been considered as peculiarly susceptible to this evil influence. Cows are particularly liable to fascination in Scotland, while in England, all animals, the pig is most often overlooked. The Turk and the Arab think the same of their horses and camels. Above all, the Napoleon cabman of today believe in the great danger to his horse from the eye of the genitor. Huh. Genitor definitely has some Jedi or Jedi uh, connotation to a degree. But, I could be reaching. The commonest of all ancient Egyptian animals except the scarab was the eye of Osiris. Osiris is the subconscious mind. Scarab was the eye of Osiris, as it is called by us. These mystic eyes were worn equally by the living and the dead as amulets, as being natural from the associations of homeopathic magic that representations of the eye itself should have been considered potent amulets against his malignant influence. All the peoples around the Mediterranean employed representations of the eye as amulets. And notice the eye on our money too. We got eye on our dollars. That's a magical instrument, a talisman or amulet, will you say? In Syria and Cairo, necklaces composed of the flat glass eyes are sold to the present day, and eye designs protect the clothes, horse trappings, and many of the objects of daily use of the Moors. Okay, they went into the Moors. Plutarch declares that the objects that are fixed upon, that are fixed up toward off witchcraft or fascination, derive their efficiency from the fact that they act through their strangeness and ridiculousness of their forms, which fix the mischief-working eye upon themselves. It was this firm belief, says Elworthy, which led to the design of the extremely grotesque figures of which the ancient Romans were so fond. Indeed, anything that was ridiculous or indecent was supposed to be a corrective to the harmful influence of fascination. Repeat that again. Indeed, anything that was ridiculous or indecent was supposed to be a corrective to the harmful influence of fascination. Amulets, which protect against this power, are of three classes. Those object of which was to attract upon themselves the harmful glance, those were necessarily exposed to view, charms worn or carried secretively, and 3, written words or scripture, Quran, and other sacred writings or Kabbalistic figures and formula. The crescent moon was a symbol of many deities. Parvati, Devaki, and other Indian goddesses Isis, Athena, or Minerva, Artemis or Diana, and the Madonna. Artemis or Diana was the patronesses of domestic animals as well as of the wild creatures of the wood. Hence, we may trace the extreme prevalence of amulets symbolic to their attributes upon horses. The crescent, that is the horned moon, and the horns appear to be interchangeable. Thus, horns in one form or another are of all objects the most common as amulets against the evil eyes, whether affecting man or beast. So much so that at last it has come to be fully believed by the Napoleon Neapolitans. I think I've been saying this. I think I've been calling it Napoleons the whole time. Neapolitans that in default of a horn in choral or other form, the mere utterance of the word corno or corna, horn. Now, corna sounds really close to corona. I have to throw that out there. But the mere utterance of the word corno or corna horn is an effective, uh, effectual, effectual protection. In Italy, particularly in Nepal's, the cart harness is literally made up of charms and prophylactics such as feathers, hair, brightly colored ribbons such as feathers, hair, brightly covered ribbons, and especially objects of shining brass. Of the last, the crescent is the most common. It would take too long to describe all the objects that are employed to counteract the evil eye in Italy alone. The following may mention fish, snakes, and various other animals, tigers, teeth, keys, a hunchback gobble, a single pendant horn, whether of coral, shell, or metal, is extremely common as miniature hands. Frequently have all the digits closed up except the index and the little finger, which are fully extended. This is a potent gesture, and a Neapolitan's right hand is almost consistently in that position, pointing downwards, just as the hand charms are made to hang downwards as a prophylactic against unknown or unsuspected attacks. Dr. Mark has recently given an illuminating description of the use and representations of the hand against the evil eye in Morocco. When studying various kinds of talisman and amulets, it has once become evident that while some are credited with contagious sympathy, others are mimetic or symbolic, that is, homeopathic in their action. Well, there are many others that owe their efficiency to an intimate relation with a spiritual being of some kind or other, or with a deity. The charm of this third group are to be regarded as fetishes so long as the recognition lasts that they are dependent for their virtue upon these extraneous beings. But when this belief is lost, the charm becomes a mere talisman or amulet. The change from a fetish to a luck object is constantly taking place owing the despairing listening effect of increasing civilization. To take one example, Mr. E. Lovett first drew my attention to the luck bones that are worn by Whitby and probably other. Oh shit! it My own song scared me, yo. All I hear was this song come on called "Wake Up, Wake Up." uh, that are worn by Whitby and probably other Yorkshire fishermen and other friends, subsequently confirmed by the fact that these bones not only bring good fortune, but are safeguards against drowning. The bone in question being the teeth-shaped hyoid or tongue bone of a sheep. Mr. Levitt suggested that the bone might have something to do with Thor's hammer. Okay. Later, Professor Boyd Dawkins, man, we know a Professor Boyd Watkins, showed me the identical bone worn for a similar purpose by Manx fishermen, and it is worthy of note that there were Scandinavian settlements in both Whitby and the Isles of Man. I informed her, E. Friedel, of these facts and inferences, and he discovered that the men in the Berlin slaughter yards have a similar custom. The end of the long arm of the bone being perforated for a thread that is fastened around the neck of the wearer. The looking into the archaeological evidence, he found that in the early Iron Age, unmistakable representations of Thor's hammer were worn as charms in Denmark. And Schleswig Holstein. In those early days, there can be little doubt that the influence of the god passed through the models of his weapon and that the objects partook the nature of fetishes, but later symbols of God degenerate degenerated into luck objects. And just to throw that out there, Captain America was able to wield Thor's hammer. So yeah, this is this is Magic and Fetishism, one of the books I'm reading. So yeah, hope y'all enjoyed that. We'll read some more next time. Cult Freestyle, Deli out.